sure you are getting the most out of your retirement? For all the years of your retirement? That's the primary goal of More Living with Jim Brogan and our Dollars and Cents segment, where we provide you with an important financial tip that will help positively impact the quality of your life in retirement. And now, here's Jim with this week's Dollars and Cents tip.
Is the S&P 500 a diversified stock index? It's becoming less and less. So let's fundamentally, what does diversification mean? I know, typically we think the most common answer that I get when I teach and speak is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And the way I like to think of it is you have things that don't always, one thing zigs, another zags. So things don't just move up and down together. And diversification is an important word to understand because when it comes to stock diversification, when we're diversified within the stock market, that means we don't have too much of any one holding or one segment or one industry grouping where that one holding or industry could drive the entire portfolio performance. However, you are going to have systemic risk when you're in the stock market. When you're diversified, one company going under, one industry having a bad turn isn't going to ruin the day for you. But if the stock market, there's an old expression, a sinking tide sinks all ships. If the market's down 35% and you're diversified in the stock market, you're going to be down a lot. But it's important to understand the S&P 500 is a weighted average index. So we think it's 500 of the largest stocks in the United States. Each stock does not have a 1/500th impact on the movement of that index. It's weighted, meaning the bigger a company is, the more it impacts the movement of that index. And there's been much discussion over the last 5 years about the Magnificent Seven, the big technology companies. And I'm looking at a chart right now, and really we could call it the Mag 2 now. I'm looking at over the last 45 years, since 1980, the weighting of the top two holdings in the S&P 500. How much of that index does it make up? And it's the highest it's been. The highest two market cap companies right now, the largest two companies in the United States are NVIDIA and Microsoft. And that makes up 14.9% of the entire S&P 500. Highest previously in 1982, IBM and AT&T made up 10.9%. And we've seen this continued escalation, especially over the last 7 or 8 years. And it is way higher now with NVIDIA and Microsoft than it's ever been. So the point of that is, when you're invested, when you look at the S&P 500, is it as diversified as you think? Because those technology stocks are really driving much of the performance of that index. So be careful. If you just go out and buy an S&P 500 fund, you could be a little exposed, certainly, to technology, artificial intelligence, and all those things. That's been great the last 5 years with performance in the market. We do need to be careful we don't have too many of our eggs in the AI bucket and that you have other diversification in your portfolio.
That's our Dollars and Cents segment for this week. You can find this week's Dollars and Cents segment and others by visiting BroganFinancial.com.